I'm going to show you how to measure your window so that the new made-for-shade window shades fit your windows perfectly. So let's get started. There are two ways to install shades, inside mounted and outside mounted. I'll explain the difference why you might want one type of mount over the other, and how to measure for each. For this job, you'll need a measuring tape, a pencil, and the made-for-shade measurements worksheet you can download from our website. Here's some very important advice. To ensure a perfect fit for your new shades, it's important to measure your actual windows, not your old shades. First, measure the depth of the window. This is important because different shades have different depths, and we want to make sure we get a great fit. Compare that depth measurement to the minimum depth measurement requirement found on the product information page for your selected shades on our website. If the minimum depth requirement is lower than the depth of your window, you can do an inside mount if you want to. If your window isn't deep enough, you'll have to go with an outside mount. First, I'll take you through the steps for measuring your window for an inside mount. After you've measured the depth, measure the width of the window. Measure across the top of the inside of your window frame. If your measurement didn't end up being in an exact 1/8 of an inch increment, round it down to the nearest 1/8 of an inch. Now let's measure the height. Measure the height at the left side, in the center, and on the right side. If the measurements are different, use the smallest one. Once again, if your measurements didn't end up being in an exact 1/8 of an inch increment, round it down to the nearest 1/8 of an inch. Remember, always round the measurements down to the nearest 1/8 of an inch if it ends up being somewhere in between. Never take off any more than that. With these measurements, our factory will be able to make the proper adjustments to your shades, so you'll have a perfect fit. Now, let's go through the steps for measuring for an outside mount. Here's how to measure if you have trim above the windows. Measure the width of the trim. Now let's measure the height. Measure from the top of the trim down to the windowsill. If your windows don't have trim, measure the width of the window's opening. Add a minimum of 3 inches to that measurement. Then measure the height of the window's opening. Add a total of 3 inches from the top for the mounting brackets. If you want, add 2 to 3 inches from the bottom, depending on how you want the shade to pass through the windowsill. In most cases, our manufacturing makes no adjustments to the outside mounted shades, so the size will fit your exact measurements, plus or minus 1/8 of an inch. And there you have it. With those measurements written down on the worksheet, you'll have all the information we need to make perfect fitting shades. Made for Shade makes it easy to pick out the fabric, style, and color of shade to get the exact look you're going for in any room. And we want to make sure you love your shades and they fit perfectly. That's why we have an error-free guarantee. So be sure to visit our website at madeforshade.com. Pick out your shades and submit your order along with your measurements worksheet. We're looking forward to making your windows look great with new Made for Shade window shades.